guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my October wrap-up. It is November 1st the day I'm filming this. I am so excited for November. We are going to put our Christmas decorations up this weekend, which I cannot wait to have everything Christmas. Miss Lily decided to join. It is 45 degrees out today, so it is a very cold day. Lily just wants to give me all the love. She never comes up anymore when I film. Before I get into the video though, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Stephanie Rose. Raising the Bar by Stephanie Rose comes out today, and this book is packed full of my absolute favorite tropes. It is a small town romance, Grump Sunshine. The hero went through a really bad divorce, so he is very jaded when it comes to love. He's like, I don't have time for relationships. I don't want to date anybody. Love is not for me, but people keep on trying to set him up on blind dates. So the heroine is just this bubbly girl who comes to the small town. She has plans to move back to the big city, but she just needs time. And so when she comes into town, he actually pulls her over for speeding, and he is instantly like, oh my gosh, who is this woman? And he proposes to fake date. He is hoping that by fake dating her in public, he will scare off those matchmakers and make them think that he's actually in love, which means acting in love in public. So obviously that's going to have them being really close, and the lines are going to blur between fake and reality, and they start falling for each other. They do strike up a friendship that turns into something more, but he obviously is really scared and terrified and doesn't think he's good enough for her. And her staying in town actually becomes permanent, which freaks him out even more. He has to decide whether he's going to risk his heart again on someone or break her heart. So if you want a small town, Grump Sunshine, fake dating romance, definitely pick this one up. So thank you so much to Stephanie Rose for sponsoring this video, and make sure you check out Raising the Bar. The first book that I read, I actually had finished it in time for my last wrap up and forgot that I read this. So I read To Ravish Rogue by Tame the Heart. This one is a monster romance, historical romance, pirate romance. So this one I gave 4 stars. I listened to the audiobook because it was on Hoopla early, and I don't know why, but this one is very much a nod to Gentle Rogue by Joanna Lindsay, because the heroine, she wants to go on the ship for a specific reason, and she does like seduce a lot of people. So she tries to seduce a couple like ship captains, and it's not really working. So then she sees the hero ship, and she decides to pretend to be a like cabin boy and disguises herself as a boy. The hero is immediately aware of who she is and knows she's not a boy, so he does play around a lot with her, putting her through things he knows that he like wouldn't do a typical cabin boy, because he wants to poke her buttons and like play around with her. And so she's on the ship, and then we figure out different things about them being monsters. So this one was a lot of fun. They're just fun times. Like I read a few other paranormal slash monster romances that were just like fine and fun, but this one was fine and fun. I really liked it, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Heart Song by TJ Klune, which was a struggle because this one I did not love. This one is Robbie's story. It's book 3 in the Green Creek series. I did have a read along with some friends. I still haven't finished my reread of Raven Song. I will do that at some point. I have like 100 pages left, but this is Robbie's story, and the beginning was very confusing to me, and it was on purpose. I am someone who does not like to be confused. I thought I had forgotten something. I was like, did I miss something really important in the last book? Like, what the heck is happening? Some of them said they did really like the confusion aspect. I didn't, and they were not together for like most of this book, at least half the book. Both heroes were not together. These are werewolf romances, and so this one I feel like we didn't really get to know the other hero. I think it's not Kelly. Was it Kelly? It was Kelly. Okay, I couldn't remember which brother it was, but Kelly, I just feel like we barely got to know him. These are all in one perspective, so we only got Robbie's point of view, and I would have loved to have Kelly's point of view as well to just get to know him a little bit better. And because there's so much overlap between all the books, I feel like some of them kind of get redundant because we get different scenes from every single person's perspective from each book, so it was fine. I gave this 3 stars. It was not my favorite in the series. It took me a long time. I definitely struggled with this one, and I didn't love it. Then I read Blood Moon for my Patreon weekend readathon. We had a little spooky readathon together, and this was our group book, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. This one is a witch vampire romance. So the heroine owns this bar, and she's really mad because the club across the street keeps on trying to like sabotage them and take their customers. And so she's at a party, she's really just like wound up, so her friend gives her a potion to make her relax, and this tall dark stranger comes in, and they have some fun together, and he's a vampire. And then they soon find out that he's actually the owner of the club, and he's not in control of their marketing tactics, I will say. And so he really likes her, and it's funny because if he drinks her blood, he can hear her thoughts, and I thought that was such a fun aspect of this book because she definitely had thoughts when she learned out who he really was. And this was just a really good romance. I feel like their connection was great. I really enjoyed the paranormal aspects, and how they like there was another plot to it. They were like trying to figure out how to run their club versus her bar, and stuff with the community. So I had a lot of fun with this and I really enjoyed it. Then I did finish Brother Song by TJ Klune. I think I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. Wolf Song is just so good. And this one is more so about the family versus the romance. So the romance in this one was good. I feel like the romance was better than Heart Song, but not better than Wolf Song. Wolf Song was just like so good. So this one is about a wolf we meet in the previous book and the other brother, which is Carter. I could not remember. So we have Joe, Kelly, and Carter are all brothers, and Mark is their uncle. So those are all one of the heroes in each of the books. So they're all about the Bennett werewolves. This one is just like the culmination of their battle against this really bad witch and things happening. And so, like I said, it was very, very family focused. So like there was a couple parts in here where I did tear up a little bit because of how emotional it was, and we've had characters die and having to really welcome in certain characters into this family as well. And the romance though was just, it was just a little okay. Like they were in this like place by themselves for probably half the book. I feel like it was a very long time when they were very secluded, and I was like, let's like pick up the plot a little bit. But TJ Klune's plots are pretty slow, definitely more focused on the found family and the emotion than the plot. So that's why I think I struggled with this reread, because I am not in the mood for slow burn and not plot driven romances. Like if it doesn't have a plot, I'm like, I need something more to this. So this one I gave 4 stars though, because I did really love the found family and I love the conclusion to the story. Then I read That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This one I did not love. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't think cozy fantasy is for me, because we read this for Ravish by Romance with Lacey. It was a little hard to like really immerse myself in it because it was so contemporary sounding, but like set in a fantasy world, and the romance was way too insular for me. Like at the certain parts I was like, how are you in love with each other right now? I was listening to the audiobook just to like get through it. It wasn't like I was really invested in the characters of the story, and I just don't love like the cozy vibes in a fantasy, because I also did try to read Legends and Lattes, which I think is kind of similar vibes to this one, and I did not get past like an hour of that audiobook because I was just like not into it. I just could not get into the story. So this one I just don't think the genre's for me, so that's why I didn't love it. Then I read Tame the Heart by Ava Hunter, which is a small town cowboy romance. This one I gave 4.5 stars. The heroine has a heart condition, so her mom actually died from that heart condition, and her dad and her brother are super, super overprotective, and so she decides to leave them, kind of cut off contact until like she wants to talk to them. She has this bucket list where she's going like all around the country and doing these things on her list. So her next stop is this really small town, and she shows up on this ranch and she meets the cowboy of the ranch, who is like the owner. He is, I think it's called Runaway Ranch, and he's there because he lost someone in his past and doesn't know how to really deal with it. So him and his brothers all are owning this ranch together, and so they run it. He dedicates all his time to it, so he really doesn't have to think about all he's lost, and she kind of throws him for a loop because he's like, oh my gosh, who is this woman? And someone had a really bad reaction on camera to something that happened, and they rely on having like tourists come, and so it's really hurting their business what had happened. So she offers to help them through their social media because that's what she has a background in, and so he agrees to hire her and let her stay at their property in order for her to help them. And so they have to work a lot together, obviously falling in love, but she is keeping her secret and he is keeping his secret. So she is keeping her heart condition from him and he is keeping his loss from her, and they don't want to tell each other unless the other tells each other. So she's like, I'm not going to tell you unless you tell me why it's called Runaway Ranch, like what is this about, like what's your past, and he just won't open up to her. So we do have this kind of coming out at the end that you're kind of anticipating, and I don't always love like anticipating something I already know, which I will talk about happens in another book as well. So this one I gave 4.5 stars though, because I love the romance. Like I truly believe that they were slowly falling in love with one another, and he was so hesitant to love because of the loss in his past, and he was a very grumpy and stoic hero, and I just really liked him, and I loved all the side characters like his brothers. I'm so excited for their books. I thought this was great, so 4.5 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Never King. This one I think I'm giving like 3 stars. It was fine. I mean, it was entertaining, but it's definitely really short, and this is a series where I don't know if it needed to be spread out among all the books. I think there's 5 books in the series. If I'm wrong, let me know. But this one is about a woman who is part of this family, and they are always kidnapped when they're 18 and taken to basically like Neverland with Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, and Peter is like kidnapping the darlings for some reason, and she ends up having like a why choose relationship with a bunch of people. And I think the beginning was really, really slow, and it was really hard for me to get into. Once the plot started picking up and you understood why she was there, and a little bit more about Peter and like like these things unraveling. I really liked it, but I wasn't really invested in the romance. I didn't really like, it was just hard for me to really grasp the story in the beginning because I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, where are we going here? So it took me a while and I did like the end, but then it was over. And I'm like, but what else? So 3 stars for me. Then I read The Worst Kept Secret by QB Tyler. I read this on the plane going to Vegas because I just got back from Vegas for the Love in Vegas signing. So I read this pretty much all in one go. And this one I'm giving 4 stars. I really love the forbidden taboo relationship that QB Tyler always writes. So much spice in these. So she is in love with her best friend's father, and her best friend's a guy who's actually in love with her. And everybody knows he's really in love with her, but she thinks he's over it because he did have a crush on her before. And so she's like had relationships, but she's always had a crush on his dad. And we're dropped in the story when they've already hooked up once. And so it's a year, I think, after that, and he's finally like giving into it. She just graduated from college and they have to hide their relationship from everybody. And I would have loved a little bit more plot and a little bit more about the heroine. So she is going to run her mom's coffee shop, bakery thing, but we never really delved into her as a character other than the fact that she's always just going out with friends. Like, we don't see any of her aspirations or like hear them talking about those, and he's just dealing with drama with his daughter. And so I would have loved some sort of external plot of their lives and a little bit more depth to their characters, because it's very much focused on their physical relationship with one another, which usually works for QB Tyler books because this is a really taboo, spicy, forbidden romance. But her last 2 books, the Bodyguard one and then the What Was Meant to Be, oh my god, I loved those 2. Were like absolute 5-star reads for me and had a really good blend of plot and spice and taboo. This one was just missing a little bit of the plot and a little bit of depth to the characters, so I'd love that more. But overall, it was still a really fun time and I still really enjoyed it, so I'm giving it 4 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook of Christmas in Kentbury by Claudia Borgoa. I listened to this for my marketing company, so I'm not going to rate it, but it is a Christmas novella, and it is a single dad, friends to lovers, and it was a lot of fun. This one, our heroine has been best friends with him for a long time and he has a kid, and so she is like really close to his child. She does let him know that she's thinking of moving and pursuing another career, and so he freaks out, and that's when they start admitting their feelings for one another. So it's a very short audiobook. It was a 3-hour audio, so I only listened to it in an hour because I listen on 3 times speed. So if you're interested in a short, sweet, fun, single dad, best friends, Christmas novella, check this one out. And the last book I read on the plane ride home was One Chance by Lena Hendricks. I got to actually get this copy from Lena when I saw her at the signing, and this one is the 3rd book in the series, and this one I thought I would love more, so I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars. The pacing felt a little off to me. So this is a best friends to lovers romance, and there's this like matchmaking auction that's coming up, and so the hero and the heroine are like, we don't want to be auctioned off, like this is just annoying at this point, so they agree to match each other up with dates. And it was like 30% in though that he kisses her. And I'm like, where's the buildup? And then like all of a sudden he's just like, it's you, it's always been you, I really want you, all, like 50% in. And I'm like, where's this tension? Like his emotions just really came out of nowhere for me, and like his decision to like make a move on her. I did enjoy that he was a firefighter. I love the small town aspect, and there are like shenanigans happening with the rivalry in town, but I loved book 2 so much, and I think I liked even book 1 better. So this one is my least favorite in the series so far. Still 3.5 stars. I still really enjoyed it. It is definitely a friends to lovers romance because they've been best friends for so long, but people are like, we always knew you were gonna end up together, like come on. And it was funny watching them go on different dates. They weren't really trying their hardest to get the best picks for each other, so that was really fun. But overall, I gave it 3.5 stars. This is the book where there was a secret that you knew from the beginning. And I hate it when you're just like, I'm waiting for this blow up to happen, to cause a 3rd act breakup, to cause the other character to really not trust the other character and be really mad about it. And that's what happened. We were waiting and waiting, and then there was a big blow up, and I just don't love it when it's that obvious. I like to be surprised as the reader, and I don't like it when I'm just like waiting and waiting for this like thing to happen. So that's also why I got 3.5 stars and not 4, but overall, fun series, and I'm glad I got to catch up on it. And that is my, I was gonna say November, that is my October wrap up. Let me know what you've read this month and if you've read any of these, and check out the first half of my October wrap up down below. I always have that linked. I do a mid-month wrap up and an end-of-month wrap up, so I'm not here talking forever, so check that out. And again, thank you so much to Stephanie Rose for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out Raising the Bar. This one is just everything I love in a book, and You have to check it out. We have the Grump Sunshine, the girl that's new in town that he can't resist. We have the fake dating. We have the blurred lines from friends to friends with benefits to do we really like each other? So definitely check out Raising the Bar. And again, thank you so much to Stephanie Rose for sponsoring this video. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.